VigilanteWilliamson here with a very simple question and an answer to that simple question, which is, why is Malika Andrews still on ESPN? First, before we get into it, please like the video if you like the video and all that good stuff. So a few weeks ago, I made a video talking about her Brandon Miller comment and why I thought there was some justification for it. Granted, I wish I would have made that video a little bit better, because it was not to be a defense of Malika Andrews and her behavior. In fact, I even talked a little bit about her not necessarily being the best messenger, but I was just searching for some consistency on whether or not we want these black athletes to be involved in situations with violence between him and John Moran, and I could have did a better job of that. And I only say that because I'm going to be talking about Malika Andrews in this video. So a lot of people, and I've seen it all on social media, and I thought about even not doing this video. They're having all these cutbacks. Why is she still on ESPN? Why is she still on ESPN? And you know what? I gotta thank the fandom menace, because this is not a question I'm asking. I mean, it's obvious. Disney is a culturally Marxist company. That is not a guess. That is not an opinion. That is not a debate. A lot of companies are culturally Marxist because that's what ESG is for. That's what DEI is for. And in fact, a lot of sources that paid Disney to be culturally Marxist have started to go by the wayside. We know Disney was in bed with China, and that hasn't been the case for a couple years. We know that companies allegedly, and this is alleged, but companies like BlackRock and others have funded ESG and diversity initiatives and things like that. And because of the fandom menace, I have a lot more clear picture of the fact that a lot of these companies still have their agenda. And not only do they have their agenda, they will fail in the process of keeping their agenda alive. So it's no shock to me that Malika Andrews is still at ESPN. It's par for the course for Disney. If you check the old channel, I reference it, but I had a previous channel, it was just VigilanteWilliamson. I have more subs there, but that channel is on Indian burial ground land as far as the algorithm goes. In any event, a lot of the very first year or two of what I did on YouTube was criticize Disney and criticize the cultural Marxism and the BS and terrible content they were making. And so this is par for the course. This is what Disney does. And another thing I learned from being involved with the fandom menace is that a lot of times, if you want to call them diversity hires, or just people who are pushing that Marxism stuff, they tend to come a little bit cheaper than the average bear. I say that remembering Katie Nolan, who was a very woke, if you will. I'm just putting on the whole fandom menace mask on, a bit of a woke character. And she was around making pretty big money. And that's why she got cut last year. Because Disney is still in a financial situation. ESPN is still in a financial situation. They're losing subscribers. They've lost a ton of subscribers. Disney Plus is losing subscribers. Even the parks are losing money. But they are so far gone down this cultural Marxism path that they're going to still do as much as they can. And that brings us to Malika Andrews, who is noted for her anti-male, in particular anti-black male stances, or at least that's what the perception is. And I think it's a valid perception. Even if I thought that the Brandon Miller situation could have been brought up and it was justifiable to bring it up, she's not necessarily the best messenger. She's not necessarily somebody who brings these issues up in any good faith. She's known for doing this. I actually just recently watched another video that I almost forgot about. I recently watched the old video talking about her coverage of Adrian Payne, who was a Orlando Magic player, former Orlando Magic player at the time, who passed away last year and had his career cut short because of false allegations of a certain type of assault. And Malika Andrews brought that up in talking of his death, even though the allegations themselves got no charges. So there is a habit of her at inopportune times or with little tact bringing up negative things about black men. That is a very consistent habit. and it's not done with any like, and as opposed to, let's say, Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels was criticized for a lot of reasons with what he said about black women and whatnot, but you can make a very legitimate argument he was doing so from a tough love standpoint, from a I'm trying to help you standpoint, or I'm trying to be positive, I'm trying to talk about something that may be uncomfortable for the purposes of betterment. I don't believe Malika Andrews has any of that, and I don't think that's a stretch to say anything like that. I think that's pretty obvious. So that makes her the prime candidate for a cultural Marxist company like that. That makes her an intersectional feminist wonderkin, so to speak. So the fact that she has such a negative view on black men, the fact that she projects that in so much of the content that she does, that is going to keep her around, especially because she's doing it for cheaper than a lot of people. It's cheaper to keep her. So unfortunately, this is what Disney is. This is really what a lot of these entertainment companies actually are. They are culturally Marxist. They are against men. They are against black men. There's an agenda against every group, really. And we're going to get into some other stuff that's pretty anti-black man, with all the Batsy Boy stuff going on at these white parties and with these NBA players. That's a separate video. Hopefully it'll come out around the same time. I got a bunch of videos I gotta do. This shouldn't be a shock. I get a lot of stuff from my conspiracy theory and my conspiracy confirmation logic for how a lot of society is ran, but this is why, because things like this won't shock me. I'm not shocked that Malika Andrews still has her job at ESPN. Of course she does. It would shock me if she got fired. It was shocking to look up Katie Nolan got fired, honestly, because you would think these people are just good forever, but you got to remember money's still a major issue, even if it ain't real. But even with that, this is what I expect from these companies. I expect them to keep the annoying and culturally Marxist and feminist and whatever type individuals for their company. They're going to do so until you stop watching them. Part of my trepidation with doing sports coverage is I didn't want to keep talking about Disney because I knew what was up with them. So a lot of companies, Disney included, and other video game companies especially are guilty of this. They expect you're just going to keep coming. You're just going to keep coming. Now, we're seeing numbers to show that's not the case, but they still have operated with the, well, you'll just be here. You're just going to sit there and take it, because that's what typically people do. There's still 75 million people still sub to ESPN. There's still a lot of people hate watching ESPN. Oh, I don't like their coverage, but you still watch. There's a lot of people who get triggered and watch. Now, people do fade off. People do fall off over time. That's why their numbers are where they are. But they expect a lot of people are just going to sit there and take it. And it's good to see that that's not true across the board. It's good to see that there is starting to be some financial ramification, but they are not going to change course, because this is deeper than just some ESG scores. This is, World Economic Forum stuff, Agenda 2030 stuff. You know what I mean? They really are trying to cause division at every turn. They really are trying to target different groups, especially the mainstream media, especially, I think everyone has their own narrative. I've heard straight white men say, oh, they're coming at straight white men. I've heard people in other groups saying they're coming at us. And the truth is, you're all right, because there definitely is a specific agenda for whatever group you belong to, whatever your demographics are. I definitely think there's an agenda against black people in general, and especially black men. But what do you think? If you like the video, again, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Peace.